Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna read a news articles with you from edition.cnn.com. While I have my camera applications over here so you can see my face, it's kind of like pretty homemade. I don't know how to describe it, but hope you can still enjoy it. Recently, Japan has been making headlines, and I hope that you've been catching up with the news and then see that the relentlessness of those Japanese girls. Today, we're gonna read a news written right after their winnings with the Spanish team, even though that they actually lost in the quarterfinals, but it's a great news for Asians football sport, and let's do it now. Along the way, I will be sure to describe or explain some English vocabulary for you and for me too. Okay. Japan blooms just at the right time as the Narashiko looks to make new history at Women's World Cup. Updated this Thursday, August 10th, 2023. 4 months before the 2011 Women's World Cup final, Japan was devastated by the largest earthquake ever recorded in the country's history. The earthquake triggered a tsunami, causing a nuclear meltdown at the Fukushima power plant, a disaster that's still being felt to this day. The incident left more than 22,000 dead or missing from the initial earthquake, tsunami, and post-disaster health conditions. The cleanup is expected to last decades and cost billions of dollars. The nuclear meltdown also ensured that the Japanese national team's training facility based in Fukushima became a place of refuge in the aftermath of the tsunami. A place of refuge is kind of like the place where people can stay at, like a short-term or temporary accommodations for people in the aftermath of tsunami, which is after the tsunami, after the disasters happen, so it's called the aftermath. Okay, this contributed to make what happened in July 2011 in Germany even more special. Though before the 2011 tournament, Japan's players weren't sure about competing. Should we really be playing football? Former Japan captain Ayama Miyama told a FIFA documentary last year. Aren't there more important things that they should be doing now? Having entered the Women's World Cup as an unfancied outsider, Japan proceeded to topple the US on penalties in the final, becoming the first Asian nation to win an international soccer tournament and bringing some joy to a nation in its time of need. That means they won at that time. 12 years later, and Japan is once again unifying the country behind one common cause, supporting the Nadeshiko, a reference to the pink flower that symbolizes Japanese beauty, as it once again makes an unexpected run through the Women's World Cup. So Nadeshiko, it's a Japanese flower, but this is the nickname of the Japanese football team, the women's one. This time, though, the team has a different task at hand, the job of revitalizing women's soccer in Japan after some lean years for the sport in the country. So lean years, I think that this is a great collocation that I've only just learned recently, and it means that some difficult years, some difficult time of the sport in the country. So it's been a lean years for the economy of Vietnam, for example, or it's been a lean years for the sport in the country right here. And the squad is going about it in the best way possible. Its performances so far transforming Japan into arguably the favorite for the World Cup title with the impressive nature of qualification from its group. The Nadeshiko was the tournament's top scoring team in the group stage and strong victory over Norway in the last 16. But outside the fanfare that is building up around the team, the potential impact of their success back home remains at the forefront of the Japan players' minds. So I think this is a pretty important and also beautiful sentences. So let's break it down a little bit. Outside of the fanfare that's building up around the team, that means more fans have been paying attention to the team. That means the team is being supported more and more by fans or support from people. So fanfare, it's kind of like support. The potential impact of their success back home remains at the forefront. Forefront here, it's really simple. You can think of it as the important role or at the important place. So instead of saying remains at the forefront of Japan players' minds, we can say remains at an important place of the Japan players' minds, which means the Japan players' minds prioritize the potential impact of their success back home. So that's more of their priority, not actually the fanfare, even though it's also important, has an important place in their minds. Continue. We want to use this World Cup as an opportunity to reinvigorate women's football in Japan. Defender Moeka Minami said after the team's impressive 3-1 victory over Norway. I hope that the girls who started playing soccer after seeing this World Cup will not stop because there are not many girls around them playing soccer, but will continue to play and pursue their dreams with a strong feeling of, I won't lose to the boys. Pressure. There are similarities between Japan this year and 2011 World Cup winning team. Both entered the tournament overlooked in favor of their European and North American counterparts, way down the pecking order of the teams expected to challenge for the World Cup title. So, overlook here means that they did not being given a lot of attention. That means their European and North American counterparts are fellow contestants, are contestants or competitors that compete in the same competitions, and they do not actually get a lot of attention from these counterparts. That means they just kind of like an outsider, like the previous paragraphs is mentioned, unfancied outsider. Japan might have been unfancied by many before the tournament, but the squad didn't travel to the 2023 tournament thinking it was just making up the numbers. Of course, we've come here to win the world's top prize, Japan midfielder Yu Hasegawa said ahead of the World Cup. For the future of women's soccer, results are important. We have a lot of responsibilities, and I want to focus on the results. Nice picture. Following the 2011 World Cup triumph, Japanese women's soccer had mixed success in building on that achievement. Triumph here means success. It has the same meaning with success. And mixed success here, it's another important and also useful English phrase, which means They have achieved the success, but along the way, while achieving the success, they have a lot of difficulties. That means that success is not fully satisfactory, not fully completed in an easy way. So to achieve this success, they must overcome a lot of obstacles. Yeah. Although it finished runner-up at the 2015 Women's World Cup, Japan was knocked out in the round of 16 in 2019 before losing in the quarterfinals of the 2020 Olympics played on home soil. Excuse me. Played on home soil here means that they play in their home country. I think instead of saying played in their home country, they said played on home soil. In Vietnamese, we also have the same phrase that means chơi trên sân nhà. And I think that it's a really cool English phrase as well. Played on home soil. The game at club level has struggled too, and in an attempt to bridge that gap, the Women's Empowerment WE League was formed in 2021, becoming Japan's first fully professional women's league. So the game at club level is kind of like different clubs at the national level, which is like in a home country, and a country competed with each other. So they kind of like form this tournament, this league for the clubs in their home country only, to compete it with each other, to bridge that gap, to connect them. Organized by the Japan Football Association JFA with 11 teams. It was founded to pave paths for young girls who aspire to become professional football players and contribute to the growth of women's football in Japan. So, pave paths, that means they are kind of like an inspiration for the successors or for like younger generations. In this situation, it's the young girls who aspire to become professional football players. That means who are very ambitious to become professional football players. Aspire to become something, aspire to do something, desire to do something. WE League chairperson Haruna Takata says success at the World Cup can go a long way to improving the sports standing in Japan. In 1911, the whole nation was so excited about winning the World Cup. So there is a sense of, why aren't we popular? Takata said ahead of the 2023 Women's World Cup. But there are many sports where the national team's games attract a lot of attention, but the attendance in the regular league is low. Since Nadeshiko Japan won the championship early on, the bar may have been set higher for us. In other words, you can have another phrase similar to this. The people set high bar of expectations for the national teams. So the bar may have been set high for us. That means their expectation bar is a bit higher. So I expect you to be on this high, not this. So because they have won before, so the expectation to win is higher. We were runners up in the next tournament, but from the media's point of view, we were not as good as they were expected to be, and they may have judged us not to have that much value. This is kind of like the problems of many teams and of teams in every competitions. when they have won before, people expected them to win again. So when they have not actually reached that position, the people or the media's point of view is that they may not be as good as before now. They may not have that much value. But that's not true, right? Blazing through the tournament. Through its first 5 games of the tournament, Japan has already done so much more than many expected. It blitzed through the group stage, not conceding a goal and putting all of its opponents to the sword. Emphatic performances against Zambia and Costa Rica, 5-0 and 2-0 wins respectively, opened its campaign. But it was the Nadeshiko's third match which transformed Japan into true title contenders. So I really like this blitz through collocations, I think. Blitz, if you have only BLITZ, it's kind of like a concerted effort. It's an effort that has put in many energy into it. And when we say blitz through the stage, I think they kind of like means they run really fast through the stage. Like on a football match, they would run a lot, right? And they put in a lot of energy and efforts into their performance. And not conceding a goal here is that they do not accept a goal. They do not accept it. So that kind of like proves how true title or how competitive this contender is. Contenders are similar to contestants or competitors. And true title here, I think it means competitive, right? Like it must be a thing that we cannot overlook. Facing a star-laden Spain team in its final group game with top spot in the group on the line, Japan pulled out arguably the performance of the tournament, catching the European team on the break countless times in between, showing a resolute tactical fortitude and a comprehensive 4-0 victory. Star-laden, it's like they have made a lot of success before, so that's why they are called the star-laden team. And let's see, pull out the performance of the tournament. That means they perform their skills very excellently, and it's kind of like the performance of the tournament is like a performance that we must watch in the tournament. It's so like catching, yeah, and showing a resolute tactical fortitude. Resolute tactical fortitude. Resolute here is, this whole phrase here means that they have resilience. They have so much energy and efforts put into that. And that results in a comprehensive 4-0 victory. Comprehensive here, in this context, it can be similar to a persuasive or well-rounded. All right? The good performances didn't stop there. Japan put in another extremely exciting display against 1995 world champion Norway in the last 16 to make it to the quarterfinals. So, put in another exciting display. It is also similar to the phrase that we've had above, pull out the performance of the tournament. Between the goals of Hinata Miyazawa, who currently leads the tournament's Golden Boot race for top scorer, the selflessness of Mina Tanaka up front in the industry from Jun Endo and Riza Shimizu at the wing-back positions. Japan's relentlessness has been one of the talking points of this World Cup. So there's a situation, a moment when one Japanese player from the wing back, which means kind of like from the from the left or right side of the football field near the goal, and then she just like with relentlessness, which unwillingness to let up, to slow down like that, and she rushed and then passed through obstacles of people and then scored the goals by herself from the wingback. This has been the talking point of this World Cup. Relentlessness, like I've said before, it's like the unwillingness to let up or the unwillingness to slow down a little bit. It's like the concerted efforts of the Japan's team. Talking points means it has gained a lot of attention in terms of, of this World Cup. Even Norway manager Hedge Riise couldn't help praising Japan after losing to the Nadeshiko in the last 16, calling it a very good Japan team. I've seen them play the group stage and they're a great team with a lot of good players and tactics. Riise said, the combination of tiki-taka combined with a direct play, it's hard to defend. They need to continue to play their own game. Japan manager Futoshi Ikeda, who guided the nation's under-20 women's team to World Cup success in 2018, has built a cohesive unit, one which looks a formidable opposition to overcome. A cohesive unit, this refers to the team itself. Cohesive, you can think of it like a coherent or a united unit, a united team. One which looks a formidable opposition to overcome. Formidable opposition here, you can think of it as challenging obstacle. Formidable, a good synonyms for challenging or hard to overcome. Yeah, hard. Ikeda's achievement is made all the more impressive given the younger age profile of his squad. Most of the players he's deploying featured for him in the successful U20 team he coached and therefore are still in their mid-20s. The team's achievements seem to be catching the imagination back home. FIFA announced that Japan's victory over Norway had an average audience of 6.72 million viewers, which is the highest of the tournament for Japan and more than double the second highest. It also surpassed any of any of the team's games at the 2019 Women's World Cup. Now, Japan faces a stiff test in the quarterfinals against Sweden, which took down the pre-tournament favorite US squad. But as it makes strides through the tournament, Japan's players are aware of the impact they're having. Make strides, another good collocation here, means make progress. I think all players knew the amount of preparation that led to this, and that today's result would definitely contribute to the future of women's soccer. Hasegawa said after the victory over Norway, I think the stars at the end of the game, I think the tears at the end of the game were released for that kind of pleasure. That's it. I really hope you have fun learning with me through your news articles today. And bye-bye. Keep learning.